Hello and welcome back to this week's Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger. The date is Thursday, yeah, obviously, July 9th, 2020. And yes, in front of the camera, you are looking at an action figure that of a character that should be very familiar to a lot of people from my generation and maybe the generation that younger even. This is Son Goku from the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Z, depending on if you're Canada or from the US. Some say Z, some say Z. So uh, either or. Dragon Ball Z anime or manga or well, it's a Japanese property. Anyway, the figure in question is made by Tamashi Nation in the figure arts line. And this depicts Son Goku in his Super Saiyan 3 transformation and also depicts the time when he came from being dead. Now, I know those of you who do not follow Dragon Ball Z are kind of all confused and have no idea what I'm talking about by now because that is a bit of a geek talk right there. So let me give you guys a quick rundown of what this is about before we get into looking at this figure in more detail. Dragon Ball Z is a series of cartoons that also manga that is also multiple series of animation from Japan. It is arguably one of the most successful Japanese cartoon and comic book that came out of the 80s. I mean, Dragon Ball has been around since as far back as I can remember when I was a kid. When I was a child, Dragon Ball was already popular, and it's still popular to this day. Like, kids today still love the new Super Dragon Ball or all these new Dragon Ball spin-offs and reboots. But long story short, the story generally revolves around the main character whose name is Son Goku. Some of you are saying that sounds like a Chinese name, that doesn't sound like a Japanese name. Well, actually, there's a lot of things in Dragon Ball that were uh, taken or borrowed or stolen from Chinese culture. Son Goku, for example, and I'm not making this up. You guys can actually research the background of the name Son Goku from Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Z. The character was inspired by the Monkey King in Chinese mythology, the monkey god Son Goku. It was a war god who was a very powerful monkey. Some say it was the same monkey that ran in the Chinese zodiac great race. So the original author of Dragon Ball uh, was obviously enamored with Chinese culture, and so he made his main character uh, having the same name and a lot of the same characteristic of the Chinese Son Goku. So the story is that basically Son Goku is this martial artist who's actually turned out to be an alien from another planet. Think of him like a Japanese or Asian version of Superman. He was the only survivor. Well, he started out as the only survivor uh, from his doomed planet, but as we progress further into the story, spoiler alert, you'll find that there's a lot more of those guys that survived. Some of them were good guys, some of them were bad guys. And the thing is, they were super powerful, just like Superman. They could uh, lift mountains, they could blow up entire planets with their energy blast, they could fly, they could uh, teleport instantaneously, and do all kind of superpower things. And basically, that was the entirety of the premise of Dragon Ball as a story. Is Son Goku and his friend defending Earth, defending the universe from multiple alien threats. Every single time, the alien threat became more and more powerful. And the reason the story is called Dragon Ball is because every time someone died, uh, all you would have to do is go around the world, and there were 7 Dragon Balls scattered around the world. If you gather all 7 Dragon Balls, you can summon the magical dragon who will grant you 3 wishes. So you can say, I want all my friends who just died in the previous battle to be alive again. Something like that. And so it's like no one ever stayed dead in the whole Dragon Ball story. Kind of a little plot armor, uh, a cheap way to don't have to worry about your character dying. But anyway, I'm not going to criticize the series too much. Whew. Okay, so that is basically what Dragon Ball is about as a story. And what we have here is Son Goku, the main character, in his third Super Saiyan transformation. What is a Super Saiyan? Saiyan is the name of the alien race Son Goku belonged to. In the beginning of the story, he thought he was the only survivor. A lot of people, everyone thought he was the only survivor. That's what made Son Goku so special. And then, after he grew up, suddenly he realized that there were other Saiyan survivors out there, and some of them were really bad people. And some of them wanted to destroy Earth. Some of them wanted to uh, rule the whole galaxy. So suffice to say, his reunion with his Saiyan people was not as positive as one might have imagined. The story gets more complicated from there. Eventually, as the characters became more and more powerful, they realized that Saiyan had the ability to transform into more powerful beings. Uh, the transformation, again, I don't want to go into too much criticism there, but it's kind of silly because when they transform, basically all that really happened was their eyes changed color, their muscle got a little bit bigger, and their hair got all spiky and blonde. Most Saiyan started out as black haired. Some had red hair, some had green hair, but when they transformed, their hair went all blonde and spiky, and they seemed to experience this super massive hair growth. Uh, and then later on, it turned out that they could transform multiple times as they got more powerful. And after a while, it just got really silly because it just seemed like every time they transformed, their hair got bigger and bigger. They could grow more hair. Just look at the hair on this guy. This is Super Saiyan 3, Son Goku. And that hair is just ridiculous. Uh, for those of you who can't see the screen, the original regular Saiyan, Son Goku, basically have hair like a normal person that just got out of bed. So he had really messy hair, but they still look like normal people hair. And there were I can't remember. I think they were either black or red. Um, kind of think he might have been red-headed. I think so. And then when he turned Super Saiyan for the first time, it's like he stuck his finger into a light socket. All his hair just went up and probably gave him like 3 extra inch of height, just the hair alone. And the hair turned golden and just turned blonde. Uh, and then when he transformed into the second level of Super Saiyan, his hair got bigger. And then when he gets to this Super Saiyan 3 level, the hair just got totally ridiculous. Just adjusting the camera, bring him a little bit closer. Look at that hair. The hair is now so long that it's no longer standing straight up on his head. It goes all the way back and come down to beneath his hip. That's a lot of hair. Like I'm telling you, on this action figure, probably half of the material is in that hair. Let's say it takes 1 pound of plastic to make an action figure. Half a pound of that material is in the hair. And this hair is really sharp. Uh, if you handle a figure uh, like this for the first time, be really careful because if you grab it, you can actually hurt yourself. If you grab it, the hair can actually puncture your finger. This is almost at the uh, level of being a deadly weapon for assault. For the most part, I don't like Japanese action figures. And this goes back for all the way to when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, my younger brother collected Japanese action figures. I collected more conventional North America, USA action figures like Superman, Batman. Of course, no matter if they were Japanese action figures or US action figures, most of them made in Taiwan or China anyway. But I guess it's because of that sibling rivalry, and also we kind of had this unspoken rule going between me and my younger brother Peter. He collects the Japanese stuff, I collect the other stuff. So our collection wouldn't conflict, and we wouldn't have duplicate figures around the house. When you really think about it, that was a pretty good arrangement. So that's the first reason why I have very few Japanese action figures in my collection. Another reason being that for the most part I find Japanese action figures really overpriced and very fragile. They are not, I don't even want to say kid friendly. They're not even touch friendly. A lot of time, all you do is take them out of the box, and then you try to put a sword in their hand, and then the whole arm would fall off. And when that is a $20 action figure, that is already pretty bad. But when it is a $90 action figure, that's enough for you to want to quit collecting altogether. Quite often, Japanese action figures, and this comes from the way they draw their cartoon characters, have really strange proportions. Japanese artists seem to have this idea that as long as it looks cool, it doesn't have to be realistic. After all, art is art. It doesn't have to be realistic. So a lot of time you'll have Japanese characters that super tall, and their arms and their legs are not exactly the right proportion for their height. Their shoulders are strangely narrow, and their neck are too long, etc., etc. Or you run into strange design, such as Well, the hair on Son Goku here. You will never see hair design like this coming out of properties in USA or Canada or Europe. Just crazy, crazy design. Now, while some people find that very interesting, I personally find that when the only thing interesting about your character design is how their hair look, that's kind of a cheap cop out. I think that if your character's only unique trait is how their hair change color or change shape, that is kind of problematic. So does that mean that I don't like Son Goku? Actually, no. I will have you know that Son Goku here is among my top 10 favorite action figures in my collection. Usually he costs somewhere around $80, very pricey for something that, let me take him off the stand and maybe you guys can get a sense of how small he really is. He's, I'm putting my hand beside him for comparison. He's actually smaller than my hand, like my fingertip is taller than his head. So he's barely 6 inches tall. And other than his gigantic, enormous, ridiculously spiky hair, really kind of a scrawny guy. Uh, he's not that big. So for something this size to cost so much, again, that's kind of why I don't like Japanese action figures. But anyway, he comes with uh, 4 different expressions for his face you can change him into. And quite interestingly enough, you don't pull off his head and put a new head on like a lot of North America action figures. Instead, what you do is, let me see, there. There's a face. The face itself actually comes off the head. And you can just put another face plate on there. And ow, 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 ow. Putting this on actually hurts because his hair is so spiky. And he also come with like 6 pairs of hands. I think it was 6 pairs of hands. I don't really feel like going to dig out his body parts from the box. I keep all the extra action figure body parts in. But he came with a lot of faces, a lot of hands, so you can have a lot of different display options with this guy. He is also really, really articulated. Let me show you guys something really crazy here. Even the top of his sleeve, this shoulder part, this top of the sleeve, even that is articulated. You can actually move that. So his arm can move very realistically. Um, his ankle, knee, thigh, waist, shoulder, bicep, wrist. This is one heck of an articulated figure. Even his hair, his super big, super long hair. Hope you guys can see this on the camera. This hair is articulated. You can actually move this. So depending on how you pose him, you can actually pose his hair like it's blown to the side by the wind or something. And then on top of all that, he comes with this uh, display stand with this arm, there's 2 little swivel arms that can go around his waist, so he can look like he's flying. And the stand itself is even articulated at several points. I count 1, 2, 3, 4 points of articulation on the stand. So, okay, he is an expensive figure, no doubt, but they do attempt to give you your money worth. He comes loaded with a lot of articulation, display option, uh, and other than my own gripe about the way character designs are, he is really well sculpted, and I can say that with authority because I remember the Son Goku action figure my younger brother had when we were teenagers, and comparing to that, this is a piece of art. Like the Son Goku action figure back then was utter crap. So is that why I like this guy so much? Is that why he's one of my top 10 favorites? Because he's so well made? Eh, no. I mean, I can stand here and tell you guys that he's really well made and he comes with a lot of accessories, but because I don't care that much for the character, and I don't really care much for Japanese figure to begin with, that wouldn't be enough of a reason for Son Goku to become one of my top 10 favorites. So what is the reason? Why is this guy one of my top 10 and he just fell off the stand? Uh, why is this guy one of my top 10 favorite? It is because he was given to me by my really good friend Ian and Darren. So the sentimental value that came with that, I really treasure action figures that came from friends because I think when a friend would actually give me action figures and turn out to be action figures that I don't have and turn out to be high quality action figures, that means these friends are paying attention to what I like, what I have, what kind of action figure I'm into. So they're obviously paying attention to my lifestyle. They care about the kind of things I like. To me, that's more special than any gift out there. It's the thought that someone really care enough to spend time to observe and to go search out an expensive action figure like this. Um, so I know that you guys are probably watching this. Ian, Darren, thank you very much. Really treasure this action figure. Uh, although funnily enough, this action figure also is the source of one of my greatest dilemma and headache right now. You see, if someone was to give me uh, an action figure that I don't have from Lord of the Ring or Superman or Batman, because I already have so many characters from those properties, displaying them is not an issue. But Son Goku is the only Dragon Ball character in my collection. So now I have the dilemma of either display this guy all on his lonesome because he doesn't really fit in with anyone else, or spend more money to get him some enemies and some friends so he can be displayed with. And like I said, these Dragon Ball action figures, they're not
Are you
cheap.
trying to shop for Dragon Ball action figures?
No, Alexa, I'm not trying to buy Dragon Ball action figures. Thank you.
Sorry, I can't tell what you want to order.
No,
Please try again.
no, please don't. Thank.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Okay, I don't know where that just came out of, kind of came out of nowhere, but anyway, nice little blooper. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So anyway, that is the story of Son Goku, one of my favorite top 10 action figures in my collection, given to me by my good friend Ian, Darren. This action figure made by Smashy Nation in the Figure Arts Dragon Ball line. Thank you for checking out today's Toy Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow for Fitness Friday. For now, have a good night and stay safe.